Right. So you look a little bit tired. We'll try to kick you up a little bit. I'll talk about going forward. I spent half an hour on their history, and I'm talking about a quarter for the future. That's the other way around what I normally think. So it might take an extra minute or two, just warning you. But there's no one after me. So where are we going as a company? I will speak mainly about medical here. I will speak a little about security. That's not necessarily that communications is not important. It's mainly because it's so self-given where we're going security now. With the demand we see, and mobile security is so large, and critical infrastructure is kind of, that road is laid out quite obviously. So I will not talk much about that. As said before, we're well positioned, and we think this is important. We are approaching tougher times in the world, financially. Everyone's talking about recession. We all know when everyone's talking recession, it's going to happen, right? Because no one's buying anything, because everyone is generally depressed, and then that changes up again. But even in a recession, in bad times, we are positioned in markets that has to grow. There's no other way around. They have to grow by external factors. I'll show you this one. We will not change this. The order will be kept. Start with a rational strategy. Have happy customers. In order to create happy customers, we have to have happy employees. And then things will be given by themselves, and shareholders, hopefully you, will get a good benefit out of that. It comes in this order, and we'll keep it. And again, the most important thing in our culture vision will also not change going forward, is the old rule of just behave as you want to be behaved too. I'm telling people, we're interviewing people or getting people into company, I say, just behave in the way you would like to be behaving too. If your brand new car breaks down, you take it to the garage. The guy you meet there, because you're angry, because it didn't work, that's with the attitude you want from that guy or that woman, you behave like that to our customers, because it doesn't always work. Things do fail, but the big difference is how you behave if it fails. Now, you heard from Dr. Khan, we had no product-related downtime in Japan over 4 years, 5 years, 24/7. There was 2 issues, downtime, unscheduled downtime in that system, but we have extremely good uptimes, and that's one of the reasons people like us and buy from us, because when the PAX goes down, they are in trouble, serious trouble. We are increasing the recurring revenue things. We've spoken a lot about that. In communications, we're increasing hardware as a service as well. We are not anymore only selling the phones. We're renting security solutions, or renting. They pay as they use it. And then we just replace a physical phone every 2-3 years. So we have it also in communications, as the entire world is moving that direction, but we do it. It creates also much more stickiness, because customers get used to it. It will increase in importance. We are reporting more and more of it, and you will see this grow. We will stop reporting order intake, because order intake in such an environment is not meaningful, but we'll still keep on reporting order intake for another 1.5 years. After that, we will not report order intake anymore, because it's meaningless. I mean, McDonald's do not report order intake, because the delivery time is like 5 seconds, right? And that's where we go. We have a very low churn. We'll start up reporting churn formally end of this year. We have ideas how we will measure it, but to be a software as a service company, I assure you, we have a very low churn. Our first customers from 1994 still are customers. They never had to pay for a forklift upgrade, and they're still very happy with what they had. And we lose, mainly when we lose a customer, is mainly because that hospital was acquired. And then the acquiring organization very often imposes their IT on the acquired organization. But then it's very good to be as we are. We have as a customers quite a few acquiring organizations, especially in the US. And that is very nice, because in that hospital, you just get an email. We just bought another one, and you grow what that means. So we have a very low churn, and that's good. But it's not formally reported yet. I'll show this figure again because it's important. The last 2 years, 3 years, we have said this would happen. There is a gap downward here, but there is a huge upside going down the line. And as I said, our first customer was 94, still our customers. That's counting on 30 years soon. But this will be more visible going forward. It will have a significant impact for next year. We will not grow as we normally would have grown. We will not turn in the profits we normally would have done. I'm the largest shareholders. I think this is great. But I don't want it to come as a surprise now. We have spoken about it for a couple of years. It will begin to happen. But the good thing is that some of the first ones we got is coming up here. So it will not be as steep as we thought in the beginning, but it will come, especially in the US now, as almost all hospitals in the US discussing with us want a software as a service solution. Now, the good upsides to that as well, that was mentioned a little bit here. Before they did an RFP for every new IT system they acquired, so they had radiology, and RFPs are very expensive for the hospitals. They are super complex, a lot of people involved, very costly. Now, if we got our system in with a software as a service, Sectra 1 solution, for either radiology or pathology, buying the rest from us is a matter of a phone call. We just need to train them. They already have the contract. So we see a lot of hospitals who have our previous solutions who want to extend into neurologists. They don't have to do an RFP. They already have a system. They can begin using it in a very low scale to try it out. It works. They just send an email, we want more training, and we're flying. It's a very, very good of getting a foot in the door. We're using it in some countries. France, we would not have entered France by radiology alone. It was a mature market. Everything is so lot. We are growing very well in pathology. Well, next year that radiology department or that hospital wants to have radiology as well. Then we're already in. So that's a strategy about this. Oh, sorry. So, I've used this couple of top lines. Where others see a problem, we tend to see opportunity. We have an old quote from an old board member, Günter Rentsch, who was a board member many years back. He said, where there's change, there's margin. So you need to work on that. You be in markets that change rapidly and be fast. You can make money and create happy customers, of course. Special niches for us is when healthcare must scale up and become industry. Streamline production, industrialization of healthcare is absolutely required. And some people say that that's cold and hard way of doing healthcare. It's not. It's a way of surviving for healthcare. Repeatable quality in efficient, streamlined process. And now the customer side is beginning to realize that. That's where we come in. And when top-level security goes to be mobile, that's our other part in communications. Because during COVID, also secret people, so to say, were sitting on the networks before. They had to sit at home. But they couldn't do anything because the networks was not encrypted. They're not allowed to do what they want. Now everyone wants to sit at home. And the mobile thing will increase a lot. And the security demands and mobility, that's our soft sweet spot in communications. When Wayne Gretzky, many of you have seen this quote before, I showed it to Börje Ekholm once in Ericsson when he was investor. Then he stole it, kind of. But I stole it from Wayne Gretzky, so that's fine. Wayne Gretzky was asked to tell why he was the best hockey player in the world for 8 years in a row. He was not really good in anything. He was not good at skating. He was not good at shooting, but he was best in the field. 8 years in a row. And a journalist interviewed, how can he be so good? And he said, I do not skate where the puck is. I skate where the puck is going to be. And we've been good at that. We saw pathology being digitized ways before anyone else. Now everyone's going there. We saw that 8 years ago. We see now genomics coming into the equation. And no one else has done it yet. We think that will be the case. Sometimes we're wrong, but then you have to realize that and shut it down. But we've been good at it traditionally. Orthopedics, we did the first templating software or system in the world doing software. Because the orthopedists, they had film before. They took plastic descriptions of the prosthesis, put it on the film and compared if it was the right size with film on film. Then we digitized, and they took these plastic films and put it on the monitor. And whatever the magnification factor was before, it was normally 1.3 to film from the physical body. It was not that on the monitor. You can buy 21-inch, 18-inch, 15-inch. So I was yelled at for 1 hour over in orthopedics in Visby, and then we fixed that. And we did that before everyone else. This is where we go. We believe a lot in multi-scale. Diagnostic in the future cannot only deal with only radiology or organ or anything. We've been here. This is radiology. You deal with body and organ. We went down into the cell with pathology. We are now venturing down into the molecule with genomics. There is an area here in between this proteomics that we cannot handle yet, but it's not very big for diagnostics yet. It might become, though. And up here, someone's asked me in the pause here, I mean, in the archives in the hospital, you have all the images from old patients. The new image coming, new patient has images that are similar to a previous patient somewhere, but we can't find it because we have 2 billion images in archives. Well, guess what AI is? AI is a magnifying looking glass into your own archives. Because when you train AI, you train to be able to use your own archives in a practical way. That's the only thing a supervised AI system does. You can use your own archives, old archives, for new patients. And population health, radiology, pathology, omics, that's where we're going long term. And we have taken, I showed this picture now for 7, 8 years. This is where we're going, and we're just completing, and we need to solve this one as well. So 8 years ago, radiology and pathology, we were pioneering that. Only vendor with radiology and pathology in the same system. We're still the only vendor who has that in the same system. And I'll come back what that is important. Built for production. Now we are introducing genomics IT. Now we are the only vendor who even discuss radiology, pathology, and genomics in the same system. Built for production again. Going from research IT tools to production. And this is a highly growth market. The estimation for products for genomics, general, that's all over the board, is 19%. It's growing rapidly. Literally almost every solid tumors, every solid cancer are now being sequenced at UPenn. Not the same in all the countries, but that's the case. A spot on for where the puck is going to be, we think. Sometimes we're wrong, but we've been quite often right as well. This is another one. We got this from the CIO from a very large hospital organization in the US. He said, I have 1,000 IT systems in my hospital systems. I can't cope. First, there's 1,000 different systems that can break as for cybersecurity. If we break one of those, we'll get an intrusion into the whole hospital system. I want fewer because the cybersecurity will increase the fewer systems you have to protect. That's one reason. The other reason is they have to train IT people that they cannot find and they cannot pay for to handle and manage all these systems. It's too expensive. I don't want it. This happened in the EMR space a couple of years back when every department, I think Karolinska, when I went to Karolinska first, I had 20 different EMR systems for an old system, Swedish. Now there's only one. There's Epic and there's Cerner. And here in Stockholm is Take Care, but it's going to be replaced by one single system. We see the same. He wants to do the same thing with pixels. He wants one EMR. He wants one system for all images in his enterprise. This came from their side, not from us. So we are creating the pixel EMR to run parallel to the normal EMR. And that's a larger market than the 2 billion that we spoke about before. This is a larger market. We don't know how large. AI finally will be very important. This is a quote of one of our customers, Professor Kurt Langlotz of Stanford. He's a good friend and our customer. He's probably the most famous AI researcher in radiology in the world. AI will not replace radiologists, but a radiologist who use AI will replace a radiologist who don't. And I think that's a very good quote. We need a human in the loop, still. We replace the shovels with an excavation machine. Still needs to be someone to run the excavation machine. And that's their systems we're building. Because pathology and radiology will become more effective with AI. Still needs diagnosticians in the loop. And we're building their tools for the future. That's another one. Everyone said it was impossible to build pathology that works because the images are too large. This image is 150 gigabytes per image sometimes. That's a lot of data shuffled around the network, but we built it. So what would an old Sectra say to the new? So it's me there, you same haircut, right? On the right. At Sectra, there are only few things you need to remember coming to us. We do important things for important customers. If we fail, countries are at risk, patients will die. We do important things for important people. Lives depend on you. Keep all promises. We don't want to break promises. Sometimes you guys get a little angry with us because we refuse to promise things for the future. Because we want to keep what we promise, and they cannot promise things about the future. We are a team, and if you see a problem, you own it. This is kind of the culture in essence we try to progress to our people. You can do whatever you need to do. If a customer is in trouble, we will reimburse you, even if it doesn't work. Because that's super important we do that. But this is sort of that's Sectra culture in a nutshell. Combined with do unto others as you want them to do to you. So why should you, as shareholders, I'll do the financial things last, why is Sectra a good investment? We are positioned in markets that are forced to grow. Will be no recession in cybersecurity. High customer satisfaction, high employee satisfaction with strong corporate culture to provide that customer satisfaction. A strong brand in markets where brand is and trust is critical. You don't give the most secret things in all of European Union away to someone you don't trust. Brand is critical, and we have a strong. And you don't provide a PACS to Stanford that you don't trust, which creates a huge barriers of entry into this market, which is very important. Trust is super important in our markets. We're profitable. We have a strong cash flow. And we have a solid balance sheet. We're rapidly increasing recurring revenue and very low churn. We are sustainable investors, and we have a lot of seeds here. Any one of those seeds you heard today is a potential billion kronor market or more. Now, not all of them will succeed that much, but there is a little opportunity in all of them. We don't do anything anymore that cannot potentially grow into a billion kronor market. And all management owns shares, etc. That's one of my requirements. When we hire new managers, we want them to own shares. And that's it. Thank you very much. And thank you for coming.